Some time ago, I made a video about writing your dissertation or your thesis, and this video is doing so well, but the number one question that I've been asked in the comments under this video is about finding your topic, your dissertation or your thesis topic. How do you do that? How do you find one? Well, in this video, I'll share 10 tips, tricks, and techniques that you can use when you're looking for a topic for your dissertation or your thesis. And these techniques will be super simple and they will help you find the perfect topic for your dissertation or your thesis. So if you want to know what these techniques are, continue watching this video. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Laura, or if you're not new, hi, welcome back. I make new videos every single week and I talk about learning, lifestyle design, veganism, minimalism, and traveling. So if you like these topics, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so that you're notified whenever I post new videos, and to follow me on Instagram because I'm so active there and you will see the behind the scenes of my life and some pretty pictures of myself. So make sure to follow me there, and you can also join our free Facebook group if you want to be in touch with like-minded people, and you can become a patron of this channel if you're getting value from my videos. Thank you so much to all of my patrons. You make making these videos possible. So in my video about how to write your dissertation, I already assumed that you have a topic picked out and you already knew what you were writing about. But as I said in the introduction to this video, many of you don't even know how to find a topic for yourselves, and I know what it feels like because I already wrote 2 dissertations. Well, technically 1 dissertation and 1 thesis, but let's call them dissertations. I think this is a broader term. So I was once lost just like you, and this video is designed to help you find yourselves and find your perfect topic so that you're not lost anymore. Okay, tip number 1 is to find something that piqued your interest in your course. What was something that was really interesting to you, a bit intriguing, a bit unclear, but fascinating at the same time? Find these things and follow the clues, because you never know where this curiosity will take you, and maybe some of the things that were really fascinating to you in your course will become a topic of your dissertation. And I'll be talking about how I found my topics. So my BA dissertation title was a comparative study of the subjunctive mood in French and in English. And I chose the subjunctive because I was fascinated by it when I was learning French. And I was studying linguistics. And so finding the similarities between the subjunctive in French and the subjunctive in English really fit my course, and it was something that was really interesting to me, and that's why I chose it. Tip number 2 is for you if you haven't really been intrigued by anything in your course. Just find something that is interesting to you in general. So even if you haven't covered anything in your course that was like, ooh, yes, I want to write about that, go to the areas that are interesting to you even outside of your course. Maybe there's something for you to explore there. And again, when I was writing about the subjunctive, it wasn't about just the subjunctive. The reason why I was so fascinated with the subjunctive is because I was fascinated with French. Like, I loved learning French. And so when it came to choosing my topic for my BA dissertation, I was like, I really want to write about something in French. And then when I was learning about the subjunctive in my linguistics class, I knew that I wanted to write about the subjunctive in French and then compare it to the subjunctive in English. See how all of that is connected? Tip number 3 is don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't find a topic that is so niche, so obscure that there is no real life literature on it. Because once you find a topic, you really have to have a lot of literature on the subject to have something to write about and something to reference in your dissertation or in your thesis. And when you think of something that is so unique and so original and no one has ever written about it before, you won't have anything to reference. So my tip for you is to choose something that is explored or has been researched to some extent, and then follow some of the remaining techniques to help you pick a topic, because you have to have some literature on the topic. Don't try to think of something no one has ever written anything about before. Leave that job to professors and doctors, okay? This is just your dissertation. Tip number 4 is to ask your tutor or your dissertation supervisor if they can show you some of the past papers, some past dissertations, And if they can, go and read them, skim them, browse them, and see how they approach the topics. What angle did they write their dissertation from? What topic did they choose? How much literature was reviewed in their dissertation? Look for clues, look for something that will inspire you, see how they wrote it, but don't get discouraged. Because I remember when I took a look at some past dissertations that my supervisor gave me, I felt like I couldn't do it because, wow, these dissertations were written so well. These are the ready products. Your dissertation will also look like this, but it will not look like this at the very beginning. So that's my tip. Don't get the imposter syndrome because you will never start writing. But if you can get inspiration from looking at these papers, then you might find yourself a topic there. Who knows? Technique number 5 is to review the existing literature on the topic and see if there is anything missing there. So let's say there was something that interested you in your course. Let's say you're a media student and something interested you about some film theories. So you go to the library or you go to Google Scholar or to academia or to ResearchGate and you start reading and you start reviewing the literature, but you find that there is something missing, like, ooh, they didn't really include this, or they haven't really talked about this film, or they haven't really introduced this person's criticism into the discussion. See if there is anything missing, and if there is, you can provide the missing piece. You can write from the perspective of the missing information. You can include the missing information in your dissertation, and that could be your topic. Or if there isn't anything missing, try to think about a different way of saying what has already been said, or maybe a different way of categorizing the existing information. You can categorize it through a different filter, using a different filter and applying a different criterion to what has already been said. Try to think outside the box and see if that could be said in a different way, in an updated way, in a modernized way, and that could be your topic as well. And when you do the literature review, always go to the reference list at the end of every article or every book or dissertation and see if there is anything more that you could read. But remember not to get lost there, because there's always more you could be reading, and you don't want to do all of your reading even before finding a topic, right? So yeah, get inspired, but just remember not to overdo it. But if you find a way to reorganize that knowledge and provide a different angle and a different viewpoint, you might find a topic in doing that. Technique number 6 is the further research needed technique. And what it means is that sometimes at the end of some articles, the author included a section called future inquiries, further research, important questions yet to be answered, something like that. And what you can do is you can go through this article and find this section and ask yourself, wow, is this something that I could write about? Like, possibly? Is it possible for me? Because this person suggested there is more to be done there, and they have already done the work. Like, they know that nobody has written about this, or that this is needed in the discussion on this topic. And you might be the person who continues this conversation, who continues the discussion, and provides important information and is a very important voice in the discussion. And you might find your topic there because there is literally a question asked in this article, like, what can we do about this? Further research needed. You can provide that research. You can expand on the topic and add to the discussion. And this is something that I did when I was writing my first academic article. And that was between my BA and my MA program. And back then I still wanted to get into a PhD program, so I knew that I needed to write some articles. And I really wanted to write about the subjunctive because I had just graduated from my BA program, and I really wanted to continue writing about the subjunctive because that would be the easiest thing for me to do. And I was wondering if Polish has the subjunctive mood, because I remember that in my linguistics classes, we never really included Polish in the conversation about the subjunctive. And when I was writing my BA dissertation, I knew that there was something in Polish that was similar to the subjunctive mood, but it wasn't really the subjunctive mood itself. And so when I was researching if the subjunctive mood existed in Polish, I found this article, just one article, that explained that there is something indeed, something like optative, like an optative mood, but not the subjunctive mood that we were talking about. And at the end of this article, the author wrote that there was a need for further research. And so I decided to write something about it and to write my first article on it, just to add something to the discussion on the subjunctive. And that's what I did. And you can do that, and you can write your dissertation or your thesis on something that is really needed in the discussion in this area, in your research area, in the field that you're writing your dissertation or your thesis in. Tip number 7 is to put a local spin on the established topic. And that is something that can help you so much, because so much has been written about a lot of things in the world, that's true, but not everything has been researched. For instance, if you want to write about a company, you want to do a case study, and so many companies have already been researched when it comes to management or finances. I'm talking off the cuff here. I've never written a dissertation on any type of management, but let's just assume that you want to do a case study. Find a local company, a company in your area that nobody has ever researched, because that's a very small company. And yes, all of the major ones have been written about, but this one hasn't. And this is your gold mine. You can write anything about this company and you'll have a lot of literature on the topic, because again, some companies have already been researched, and you'll be able to reference all of these studies and do your own case study on this local company. Or when I was writing my MA thesis, I was writing about the subject-verb agreement with coordinated subjects in Polish. And the reason why I chose this is I had attended a summer school in linguistics, and when I was there, when I was taking classes during this summer school, I realized that the syntax classes were dominated by the subject-verb agreement with coordinated subjects in South Slavic languages, and many people were talking about Serbo-Croatian or Serbian and Croatian, about Bulgarian and about Slovene, but nobody was writing about West Slavic languages, meaning Polish and Czech. And nobody was writing about the subject-verb agreement with coordinated subjects in Polish. And I realized that there might be something there. And there was, and I wrote my thesis on it because there was some research already done on similar languages. Polish was not really researched at all. There were 2 articles, I believe, that wrote about Polish, and I decided to write about it. And that was me putting a local spin on the established topic. So think about the ways in which you can do it, and you may end up with a topic for your dissertation or your MA thesis. Tip number 8 is to update the current state of knowledge. And here's what I mean. When I was applying to get into a master's program in journalism and in film studies last year, I knew that if I were to write my master's thesis, I would want to write about something that I loved. And something that I loved was, and still is, Twin Peaks. I love this TV series, I adore it. And I was applying in 2019. And if you're not familiar with Twin Peaks, it was very popular in the 90s, and there were 2 seasons that were released in the 90s, and the 3rd season was released in 2017. And so all of the work and all of the research that had already been done on Twin Peaks was on the 90s seasons, the seasons in the 90s, because the last season came out in 2017 and there hadn't been any research on that newest show, on that newest season yet. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is my gold mine, because I can relate the newest season to the past 2 seasons, and I can focus on some specific themes there. And that's something that I really encourage you to look into, because what if something new has been invented or designed or created that nobody had ever researched before because it was just released and nobody's had a chance to look into that, to investigate that. And so think about it, and maybe you will find your topic here. I think this is especially important if you want to write about some social sciences, because there's always something new. Things are always developing, things are always changing, and you can follow the clues and you can reference the old stuff to the new stuff and the new stuff to the old stuff. The possibilities here are endless. By the way, I'm very sorry about the change of lighting here. It's a very windy day and a very cloudy day, and that's why the sun sometimes comes out and sometimes it hides behind the clouds, and I can't control it, I'm sorry. But I hope you don't mind it. Before I give you the last 2 tips, let me know down in the comments if any of these tips have already been helpful, and if you already have an idea of what your topic might be, or if you've already written your dissertation or your thesis, what was your topic? Let us know down below, and let's help each other out. Find the person in the comments that you think you might help and help them. Write a comment and respond. Let's just get the discussion going, because I really want to help you, and I think that there is so much more that can be said about finding your perfect topic. So if you know any other techniques and strategies that I haven't mentioned here and that I still won't mention because we have 2 left. Tip number 9, and this is the tip that will always save you, because this is something very similar to what I said before, that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, is to narrow your research down and be as specific as you can be, because that will be really helpful. The less you have to write about, the less aspects you have to cover in your dissertation or in your thesis, the better. And I'll tell you something that I did when I was applying for my master's program in journalism, which, by the way, I quit. But still, when I was applying, I had to write my research proposal, and I knew what I wanted to write about. So yeah, I wanted to write about Twin Peaks, and I wanted to talk about the changes and the correlation and the similarities and differences between season 3 and seasons 1 and 2. But I didn't want to write about the whole series and compare everything. That would be a topic for your PhD thesis. Like, if you wanted to write about everything there is to say about Twin Peaks, I think that this is even like a topic for 2 separate PhD theses. And I knew that it would be too much work to write about everything. And what I did was I chose 2 specific themes and concepts I wanted to focus on, and that was the concept of dreams and the concept of evil. So evil presented in seasons 1 and 2, and evil presented in season 3. And that was something that I could really focus my energy on and write a lot about, even though that was so specific. It helped me because I knew how to focus on it. I knew what I wanted to write about. I knew where to find my literature on this concept. And the same goes for dreams and visions. And I abandoned all of the rest, even though everything was fascinating to me. When you narrow your search down, it will be so easy for you to write about it. It will be so easy for you to compile the literature and to write everything there is to write about this topic, and possibly exhaust it, you know? So always narrow your research down, be more specific. So even when you already think like, maybe I'll write about this, make it more specific. Go deeper, go further, narrow it down, and you'll find your perfect topic, I'm sure. And the final tip, tip number 10, is remember, you can always change your mind. You can change your mind. You don't have to stick with your first idea. You don't have to stick with your idea even when you started writing. You can always change your topic. There were so many people in my year, both in my BA and my MA programs, that changed their topics because once they started writing, they realized that the topic was too broad and they wouldn't make it, or that there was not enough literature on the topic, or that they stopped really enjoying it and they couldn't really bring themselves to write it. Changing your dissertation or your thesis topic is not the end of the world. You can do it. Just make sure that your tutor or your supervisor allows it. But yeah, we are human, we change our minds, and sometimes we think we would like something, and when we start doing it, we find that we don't really like it. And it's really good to change your topic, because you want to write your dissertation, you want to write your thesis, right? If you want to write it, find a topic that will be perfect for you. And if that means changing your topic at some point, that's okay. You can do it. And that's okay, there's nothing wrong in it, because this is your dissertation. You have to write about what you want to write about. And sometimes just knowing about it, just knowing that there is room for some change, that there is this other choice, this possibility of changing your topic, makes this whole process so much easier, because you know you have options. So just relax, look for your topic, and I know you'll find it. And I know that your dissertation or your thesis will be very good, and you'll get your diploma. And that's it. If you're watching this video, that means you're probably a student, and I have so many other videos related to studying, to living, and earning, and saving, and studying, and working, and being as a student, like being a student in general. And I'll leave the links to all of these videos in the description box. And if you have any further questions or any other tips that you would like to share with everyone, please do so by including your suggestions in the comments. And subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more of similar content. Make sure to hit the bell icon. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see more of my daily life. Join our group, and if you've gotten value from this video, consider becoming a patron. We have a lovely community there. We have live stream events every single month. You don't want to miss it. And we also have a book club going, so if you'd like to read books and discuss them with us, consider becoming a patron. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!